Okay, and you know what? It would help if I actually remember to take the black off. How you doing? Oh boy, how you doing? Welcome to the nightly draw for July 18th, 2017. How the heck are you doing? John Lotshaw, the crackpot cartoonist here. Go away, date. Go away. We know what day it is. There it is. Live and direct from Studio A at stately Lotshaw Manor's Worldwide Broadcast Operations Center. How you doing? It's we're doing the show again. Yeah, here we go. Total Request Tuesday, and I actually got some things fixed. The microphone's working. The microphone's working the way it's supposed to. I had to go and buy some new cables and put this mixer in. I had an old mixer lying around. I had it for about 20 years. It's an old Mackie mixer, and what I've got is, and I need to turn this down because it's just a little hot in my ears. I'm wearing headphones, as you can see, and I've got it routed up so that I can monitor the audio coming off the computer, but it's not feeding back into the computer. So it's only feeding the microphone into the computer, which is what you're hearing. Hopefully you're hearing. I haven't seen any complaints yet about there's no audio, but yeah, that should fix the problem from yesterday, because when we had a little problem with the audio. Still don't know what happened to the microphone yesterday. I think it was the like I said, it's the phantom power unit, and but this is working a lot better, and I get to have my side tone back in my ear, so I get to sound like a real broadcaster, and I don't have to do the Gary Owens cup my ears hand over the ears. So yeah, so audio has been fixed, and a little trip to Guitar Center took care of that today. So thank goodness that's working. Basically spent the afternoon trying to track that one down. So yeah, that was I always love, and then of course when I 5 minutes before the show, I'm checking everything last minute, and I'm not getting any audio. I'm like, oh great. It's worked all day long, and I tested it this afternoon, and then I tested it again. Turns out what happened was when I set everything up for good and put slid the computer back into place and everything, and rewired. Yeah, it is a little hot, and I'm as I said, I'm dialing it in. That should help a little bit. With the being hot on the mic. There we go. I think that's going to be, yeah, there we go. It's just a matter of dialing it in. Yeah, I'm making up for yesterday, the bad audio from yesterday. Yeah, it turned out when I was setting the computer up and putting it back into place, I wired it up wrong. All that, and I still, this is why you don't let me back into your patch bay. So anyway, hopefully we've got that fixed, and that's taken care of, and it's a lot better for me because, like I said, I get to hear my own side tone, and that helps me have that nice radio voice. So okay. So anyway, today, Total Request Tuesday. We talked about it last night. Doctor Who versus Star Trek monsters. And I think the Doctor Who monster I'm going to do tonight, I think it's going to be Davros, because Davros is kind of a two for when it comes to Doctor Who monsters, because you get the Daleks and you get Davros himself, who's pretty bad. I'm still trying to so be thinking, because we're not at that point yet, but be thinking about what we're going to do for the Star Trek side of it, because Star Trek just doesn't really doesn't do monsters like Doctor Who does. I mean, Doctor Who, that's the stock and trade for Doctor Who, but Star Trek just really just doesn't do monsters. Speaking of Doctor Who, and we talked a lot last night about Jodie Whittaker and all that, and that was great. I enjoyed doing that because that's nice and nerdy. I love that. But I'm thinking about not doing the show on Thursday, and the reason why is Riff Tracks Live is doing the Five Doctors live to via satellite to theaters around the country, and I was thinking about going to that because that was my entry to Doctor Who was the Five Doctors, and so I was thinking about going to that. So yeah, Gorn, and I mean the thing is about like I said about Star Trek's monsters just aren't as they're not as well, first off, they don't tend to recur. I mean, the Borg, yes. There's some, but yeah, I mean, but yeah, and you've got the Salt Vampire, but those were one-off monsters. They didn't really make that big of an impact like they did on like Doctor Who's monsters. Star Trek wasn't really about monsters. It was whereas Doctor Who was. So Pike versus Davros. Hey, you're in my chair. Beep beep. Beep. Is that all you can say? Beep. That's a possibility too. But anyway, as I was saying, I was thinking Thursday maybe not doing the show. Well, I'll know by tomorrow. I'll know if I'm gonna go tomorrow. Star Trek monsters tend to be really cheesy, and Doctor Who monsters don't. I mean, Doctor Who kind of, especially in the '60s, boy, they had the market cornered on cheese. It's amazing that anybody in the UK got dairy products. They had so much cheese on Doctor Who in the '60s. And the '70s, and the '80s, but they had a small budget. Bless their hearts. That's the Southern thing. You can say the most horrible thing about anybody, and then get away with it by just saying "bless their heart." Just oh, can you believe he was cheating on his wife, and then cheating on his mistress, and then embezzling from the bank? Bless his heart. So anyway, so we'll think about that, and and you'll probably throw in a Tribble or two, because that's when you think of the monsters on Star Trek, there's really no monsters. Like I said, there's aliens, Klingons, Romulans, and then you've got Tribbles and the Borg, and the Borg are the closest thing to a Doctor Who style monster that Star Trek's ever done. So, the flying egg monsters, yeah. But again, like I said, I mean, there's a lot of them, but they're not as iconic as the Doctor Who monsters, is what I'm saying. And I was thinking about that today. You're right, Mark. They are one-shots. You have species that reoccur, like Romulans, Klingons, the Borg. And the Borg, like I said, those are the closest things to a Doctor Who's type monster that Star Trek has. Because, and I think it just goes down to the motivations. The Doctor Who monsters are, they're. But the Klingons were just, I mean, they were the analogs for the Russians during the Cold War, and the Klingons were the Romulans were the Chinese communists. So it was kind of it was allegorical. Doctor Who was just bug-eyed monsters. So, but anyway, okay. So moving on. we're gonna. Let's go ahead and get this out of the way. It is. Yes, I know, but this is not for your benefit. This is for those who have never seen the show before and are watching again. This is an important part of how I make my living. So, Patreon.com. If you have a Patreon membership starting at $5, you get original content that will be posted as it's done, as it's available. And I've got several that are getting ready to go up, and will be going up this week. There's also the $30 level, which is the Not Safe for Work Friday, and that's an original drawing, original color image every week. But there's various levels of patronage, and I would appreciate if you would go over there and consider supporting Accidental Centaurs and me over there. Best place to get information about what's going on and schedules and things like that is on the Facebook page, facebook.com/Accidental Centaurs. And just like that page, you'll know when we're going live, when we're moving around to other things. Excuse me, a little sniffle here. And but that's going to be the best place to find out that sort of information and keep up with what's going on. Etsy page. Yes, there is an Etsy page, and there's original art there, and there's a lot of it. And I'm going to add some more here soon, as soon as I can get it cataloged and know exactly what I have. But I do have quite a bit of original art, and I would love it to go to a good home. So go over to etsy.com/shop/Accidental Centaurs. You'll be able to also do commissions there. I do commissions. So all that information is over there at etsy.com/shop/Accidental Centaurs. There are collections of Accidental Centaurs available. You can get these from Lulu. These are print-on-demand, full-color books. Volume 1 has chapters 1, 2, and 3 of Accidental Centaurs, and Volume 2, the cleverly named Volume 2, has the complete Dictating the Course story. And there's also PDF versions that are a little more affordably priced. I know these are kind of high because it is print on demand, but there are also PDF versions available over there that are not don't have to ship dead trees. So you get to reap the savings on that. There's also the adult books as well. There's Volume 1 there. There's Volume 2. And there's Volume 3, and those are also print on demand with digital versions at lulu.com at the URL on the screen. Finally, DragonCon's coming up very shortly, and I do have a little bit of news about that. I'll mention in just a moment. But DragonCon, September 1st through 4th. In Atlanta here at the Merchandise Mart is where the Comics Alley will be, and I will be right next to Bill Holbrook, my good friend Bill Holbrook, and who I'm working on trying to get set up to have him as a guest on the show. We've just got to work out some technical details on that, but just a little spoiler there for you. Hopefully that'll be very soon, and also I will be also in very close proximity to my good friend Tom Heiches, the Eisner winning editor. Look right there, there it is, the Eisner seal. Eisner winning editor of Hogan's Alley magazine, great magazine. This is not a paid endorsement because I love this magazine, and the guy that does it, Tom Heiches, great guy. Very knowledgeable about comics and loves comics, and this magazine is for people who love comics. This issue has got just what's here on the cover. There's a there's this great article about Jack Davis, the wonderful Jack Davis, who I miss dearly. Great man, great artist, just a great human being. And there's also an interview that has never been run before with George Harriman, the creator of Crazy Cat, the great comic strip from about 100 years ago. There's a very interesting article about Shakespeare and Peanuts, and the relationship between those two, and that's just scratching the surface on this. I mean, it is jam-packed. You cannot get a better value for your comics dollar anywhere else, except by buying Accidental Centaurs comics. But actually, no. This is the great magazine, HoganMag.com. Go check it out. It's a great magazine. I'm listed in here as the webmaster, which means that I set him aside. I told Tom you just need to just set up a WordPress site, and he's been very happy with that. But I'm very proud to be associated with this magazine because even in a very peripheral way, because it's a great magazine. But anyway, go check that out. Seriously, go check that one out. So that's that. Oh, I was going to mention, I just got notification that the reprints of I thought I had one here. I did. I used to have one. Anyway, reprints of Accidental Centaurs 1 and the new copies of number 9. Number 9. Sorry. Negative Spaces are en route. They are in transit. UPS has them, and they are on their way. So I should be supposed to get them tomorrow. They're supposed to be here by the end of day tomorrow. So we'll see. In God We Trust, All Others Pay Cash. That was the title of one of Gene Shepard's books. That I think that was the one that the Christmas Story was based on. That the stories for Christmas Story came from. I think it was in God We Trust, All Others Pay Cash. The movie that TBS runs ad nauseum every Christmas. I remember when that was a very special thing. When very few people knew about A Christmas Story. Now, I can't stand to watch it because it's like what they did with the way they ran It's a Wonderful Life into the ground about 20 years ago when it went into public domain. TBS, TBS is the worst about it because they'll run 24-hour marathons of A Christmas Story. It's like Groundhog Day, but only on Christmas. So anyway, okay, so that's that. Got all that out of the way. Take these and put these over here, and then that means time to draw. Yay, time to draw. Oh. You know what? It would help if I actually... Wait a minute. What's going on here? Oh, brother. Oh, bother. This isn't good. This isn't good at all. Alright. One of these... just watch. I'm going to end up unplugging myself. No, I knew it. Doggone it. Okay, okay, good. That camera came back. What's the first rule of broadcasting? Make sure everything is working before you go on the air. Oh, good grief. Oh, Glorioski. How long have you been doing this, John? Oh, only 30 years. Okay. La 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 la. Okay, good. Okay, we got that camera back. Now let's see about getting this one up and running. Is that one set for? Okay, that's also set for. For some reason, these cameras will if something's wrong and I have to reset like I did just now. They reset themselves to like 124 by 128 by 90, something just ridiculously low. So so basically, what I had to do was the television the video version of. Did you try turning it off and turning it on again? So that's. No, I don't have a Commodore 64 working on the video. I have a VIC-20. So, all right, let's get started, shall we? I actually had an 8-track recorder. It was a big half-inch. We called it Bruno, and the controller on it to do the time code and everything was actually a VIC-20. And I'm just roughing in Davros here. You know, okay, yeah. I remember when I saw Genesis of the Daleks for the first time. That was the first Doctor Who that really blew me away. That I was super impressed with, and what it was really impressive, and what made it impressive. Well, let me move the microphone a little bit more. Right now, I am going from memory, but for the details, I will pull up some the references that were sent to me by a kind viewer. Because there's a lot of detail up in here that on the head that I haven't done. That I need to pull up the specific references on, but for the most part, the general but the specific details, like how many of these panels are there? That's I'm going to need some reference for that. Okay, if I ask, my glasses are over there. Oh, wait a minute. You know what? I need to put some power on this phone. Otherwise, yikes. There we go. There we go. That's going to be a lot better. Let's see. Where was that? Oh, good. My e-zine from Porsche Perimeter of Atlanta is ready. Good. Because I was waiting for that. That was sarcasm, by the way. Let's see where. There it is. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, Wednesday, end of day, to get my to get for the comic books coming in, and according to UPS, real quick here, let's see, and that's all it says. Oh, wait a minute, here it is. Here we go. Here it goes. So it is in Nashville right now. Interesting. Okay. The printers, the people that print them, they do a fantastic job. It's called Greco Printing, and they just do an amazing job on that. All right, so enough rambling there. Let's see. Let's go back here. Here we go. There's Davros. So, you know what? That's pretty close. That's pretty close. I know I need to get the eyes here. Because his eyes are kind of, and he's got I mean, he had a beaky kind of nose, and he's constantly frowning because, he's Davros. He's not a very happy camper. Oh, come on. There we go. So let's see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we've got one in the center. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 down the side. So there's my center line right there. Oh, you know what? I was pretty close. I got 5. And that is from Genesis of the Daleks, if I'm remembering correctly. That photo is from Genesis of the Daleks. But Genesis of the Daleks, like I said, as I was starting to say, that was the first Doctor Who that I saw that I was really impressed with, because the others, I saw when they started running here in Georgia. They ran the 5 doctors, the 5 doctors, and this was for the don't do that, not with headphones on, ouch, owie, that's not smart, that's not fun, but anyway, the 5 doctors ran here in Georgia, and then they started up the Tom Baker serials. That was November of '83, and then they started running the Tom Baker serials about February. And they started with Robot, and then they did Ark in Space, which I missed for some reason. And then they missed on that broadcast. Then they had. What was the one in between? There was one. It was where the Doctor, Sarah, and Harry go down to Earth, which has been devastated by the solar flares, which was why the Ark was in space, and they ran into a Centauran, and it was all filmed on location with video cameras, and so we had this very unique look. And what was amazing about that episode was there was one scene in particular. It was the scene where the Doctor has wired up the Dalek birth chamber with explosives, and he's holding the 2 wires, and he's trying to decide whether he should blow the Daleks up. And he explains to Sarah Jane, because Sarah Jane says, "What are you waiting for? Blow them up." And the Doctor explains that yes, the Daleks are evil, but there's so much that God, this phone is driving me nuts. There's so much that happens good that comes out of the existence of the Daleks. That it's he doesn't know whether he should whether he can does the good that comes out of it balance the evil of the Daleks, and it's that's very deep. Well, he's got I never realized it. Davros has these Richard Nixon jowls. You notice that? And boy, even in this picture, you can tell that's a glove on his hand, not makeup. I need my water. That's right. The Doctor was routed by the Time Lords, and there's been theories, fan theories. This was actually the first act of the Time War, that the Time Lords started the Time War when the Daleks discovered that they had sent the Doctor back to their moment of creation to prevent their creation, and which is, it's an interesting theory, because it means that the whole Time War is the Time Lord's fault, and the Doctor was an innocent, well, not an innocent pawn, but he was a pawn in their games, which he often ended up being. All right. Oh, that's right. He's got his little microphone here. And I think this part up here was added in the revival. So, you know what? I need to display and brightness. No, that's not it. General? No. It's been so long since I've gone in and tried to adjust the time, how long it takes for the screen to go dark. And I don't even remember where it is on here. And I was wanting to, because it's kind of driving me nuts trying to use this as my reference. But anyway, so yeah, he's got this shiny leather. That's going to be a bother. See, my screen keeps blanking out on me. Yeah, I think in the revival series they added this support here to hold his head up. Okay. The old the Peter Cushing movies, those don't count. Yeah, they were rewrites of two Hartnell episodes, and in that it was before the whole thing about Time Lords and who the Doctor was. And his origins had been kind of locked down. So Peter Cushing's Doctor was actually a human inventor by the name of Doctor Who, and he actually, the only monsters that were in the movies were the Daleks, because they were actually Dalek movies rather than Doctor Who movies, because the Daleks were what was so popular. The first movie was called Doctor Who and the Daleks, and the second one was Daleks Invasion Earth 2150 AD. And they are rewrites and reworkings of the Daleks, which was the second Doctor Who serial, the one that caused Doctor Who to really take off. And then the second movie was a remake of Dalek Invasion of Earth, which was the second Dalek serial, and it was the one that Susan left at the end of. And they actually the the comic relief in the second one was actually was played by Bernard Cribbins, who later, much later, was Donna's grandfather. Played Wilf. Wilf. What was it? What was Wilf's last name? I'm drawing a blank on that. And yes, it was. It was with the abbreviation. So, like I said, it was really before they nailed down a lot of things about Doctor Who, and again, like I said, it was mostly a Dalek movie because interesting thing about the way that works, the rights to the Doctor Who monsters are held by the writer. So Terry Nation's estate, at least up until recently, they may have just sold it outright to the BBC, but the BBC did not own the Daleks. And when the series was revived, that was the big question: is are the Daleks gonna return? Yeah, so. And in fact, there was a one point where the negotiations had kind of broken down with Terry Nation's estate, and so they were for the episode Dalek, which was a great episode, the one that brought the Daleks back into and established a lot about what was going on with the Time War and things like that. What Mark is talking. Mark is mentioning about the recutting of some of the movies. What they would, the syndicator did that. It wasn't the stations; it was the syndicator that did that. Because a lot of stations would want to run, because that was how they ran them here in Georgia, was as movies, and so they would very crudely cut together some episodes. I mean, there would be ones where you'd get to the cliffhanger, and then there would be the scream, and then all of a sudden the scream would cut out and go into the next scene from the next episode. The scream is that sound effect that happens at the beginning of. They started it in the Tom Baker era. And it's that it's called a scream because it kind of sounds like one. And let's go back to my reference here for a second. Oh, there's Jessie. Oh, isn't he adorable? Okay, yeah, that's right. He's got kind of a cybernetic net here. He's got his kind of Dalek eye. And he's got kind of like that Michael Stipe head. Okay, when you say the U.S. Doctor, are you talking about Paul McGann? I guess you're talking about Paul McGann. Yes, Paul McGann's Doctor is canon. In fact, he appears in. They did a really nice little short with Paul McGann. which reintroduced a couple of, actually, in addition to having the Eighth Doctor in there. They reintroduced the Sisterhood of Karn, which later came back in some of the Capaldi episodes, and that was from the Brain of Morbius, which is a Tom Baker serial. Serial, not as in episodic serial, not breakfast cereal. Because I know Tom's going to say something about that. I just want to head that one off the pass. And but they showed the regeneration of the Eighth Doctor into the War Doctor, and that was, kind of the lead up to the 50th anniversary. And they did it that way because Christopher Eccleston did not want to come back and play the Doctor. So what had been written for his Doctor was given over to given to the War Doctor, and the War Doctor was created to take Eccleston's place. Which, I mean, no slouch on Christopher Eccleston. He's a fantastic actor, but if you have a chance to get John Hurt, and in one of his last roles, to be the Doctor, how you can't turn that down. You just can't turn that down. So get the Dalek bumps in here. As they called them in Doctor Who and the Curse of the Fatal Death. Oh, you know what? I've been meaning to try this one out here. Let's see. And I can hear the music too. It's amazing what happens when you wire things up correctly. Nothing like a moment of pre-broadcast panic to kick the old synapses into high gear. Oh, it was who wrote Curse of the Fatal Death? It was Moffat. Moffat wrote it. Okay, we're getting some Star Trek in here now. I kind of like the idea. I'm going to do the Star Trek half of this in just a moment. I kind of like the idea of the Okay, oh, there it is. Our friend the gum eraser. I love these gum erasers because they just drink up this pencil. Like Bibendum, like the Michelin Man. That's how he got his name. Bibendum comes from a Latin word meaning to drink, and the first ad ever had the Michelin Man, a man made of tires, holding up a wine glass that was filled with nails and metal shards and all kinds of stuff. And the caption says it drinks up hazards of the road or something like that. In French, of course. But of course. And that's where the Michelin Man came from. Yeah, I know. Okay. I think I'm going to do pike. I think I will do pike. Because, we got the two. We got the... move my phone out of the way so I don't get erasings all over it. And this is sunken in eyes in here. Tom is mentioning Trek, Doctor Who crossover comics. Is that the one where are you talking about the one with the 11th Doctor and Rory and Amy with the Next Generation crew and the Borg and the Cybermen hookup? Is that the one you're talking about, Tom? I am mixing the music into the background feed. Yes, that is what I'm doing. It is not ambient, but I have it in my ears because of the way that I've been able to wire this up so that I can hear it. I can hear anything that I play, no matter what it is.
What do you want from us? We're evil! Evil!
And it doesn't feed back into the video or into the feed going in for the microphone. But it enables me to be able to monitor myself, so I can tell when I'm off axis and I need to move back over here on the microphone. So without you having to tell me, I can instantly hear that. I couldn't do that before. And I've been wanting to set it up that way, and I finally just got off my can and went to the Guitar Center and got the cables that I needed. I would say Radio Shack, but I can't. The Radio Shacks, if you can find a Radio Shack is just, it is pathetic. It is so sad. Radio Shack, yes. When I was a kid, my mother would drop me off at the Radio Shack when I was during summer vacation, and we would go grocery shopping. She would just drop me off at the Radio Shack and say, "Stay here." Okay, that's fine. They got these really cool TRS-80s. I can play with those. That's the first time I ever programmed a computer. You know, the 10 input quote, what is your name, A string. 20, hello, A string. Print, hello, A string. Oh, you got to put the $sign after it. Okay, that makes sense. So if I don't put the $sign, then it wants a number. Okay, well, all right, whatever. Yeah, and they're just it's, you know, it used to be you could go in there and you could get any kind of connectors or adapters that you needed for audio or video stuff. You needed a 555 timer. Yeah, you go down to Radio Shack, you get a 555 timer. You needed a book to tell you what to do with that 555 timer. Yeah, Don Lancaster's book was right there. And you know, and they had boy, I really ran that one down. You know, they had you know, they had the computers. They had the TRS-80s. Yeah, my the first computers that I my let's see, my father worked for a company there in Dalton that sold Texas Instruments mini computers, not micros, minis, and they were you know, big rack. They went into a rack unit, and they were quite large computers. And he programmed in COBOL. He was a COBOL guy. And then my high school had Radio Shack computers. Oh, about Dad. I would, you know, sometimes Dad would, you know, I'd go and visit him at work, and he would set me up with a terminal. and there was a basic compiler on it. And so if I was going to go to visit with him, I would take, you know, the code that I had written and on paper, and I would go and key it in and try to debug it. I think I was the only person over there that had ever used the basic compiler over there. No, because like I said, it was a COBOL shop. They were doing software that ran carpet mills, and they did the software that for the county that ran the county. My dad wrote he wrote the jury selection program, because he used to have to go, and they'd sold it to quite a few counties in Georgia and Florida, because he had to go to court several times. He was subpoenaed because this attorney or that attorney was challenging the jury selection, and so he had to go in and explain under oath how his software generated the jury lists from the voter registration, and how he was able to, you know, generate a sufficiently random, pseudo-random number, because, you know, all computer random numbers are not true random numbers. They are, unless you have some kind of mechanical random number generator, the software generator is a pseudo-random number. And so he had to go court and explain, under oath, because this jury was, an attorney would challenge it. By the way, this is not my the brush pen that I've been normally using. This is a chisel tip from the same kind of. All right. Yeah, the Commodore, and there's an interesting, there's a really good book about Commodore called On the Edge, and I read it, and I actually bought it directly from the author long ago. Great stories about Commodore, Jack Trammell, not Tramiel, Trammell. He was famously cheap. I mean, he would make Scrooge McDuck say, "Whoa, dude." And an example of that is why the BASIC on the Commodore 64 is so crappy, because he did not want to pay Microsoft. He bought when the PET came out. He paid Microsoft a one-time fee. I think it was $25,000 for them to adapt their BASIC, which they had working for a 6502, a generic 6502, but get it working specifically on the PET hardware. And he was determined never to pay them another penny, because he would basically just take the code and patch it. It would just be patched, and that would be version 2. And hopefully you didn't hear that. Because it should have muted out my coughing, my hacking my head off here just a second ago. Okay, Davros actually came out pretty good, a lot better than I'm really happy with the way Davros came out here. But yeah, the 64 unfortunately was crippled by that horrible BASIC that was on it. So yeah, if you wanted sound, if you wanted oh, look at that. That's not good. That's going to smudge. That is going to smear and smudge. So I'll use this card to prevent that. All right. All right. Well, we got some tribbles in here. That's Star Trek. Oh, it's 11 o'clock. Wow. I started getting a little bit of smudging there. Okay. So, There's Davros. I am starting to get some smudges here from my hand being covered with graphite. Okay, I guess I should have found me a picture of Captain Pike, huh? Oh, stay in place, you stupid computer. I really would like... Beep, beep. Is that all you can say? I really would like to get a new a replacement for the computer that I got over here, but there's just, it's not going to happen anytime soon, unless book sales pick up considerably. Hint, hint. Because the laptop takes up a good 1/6 of the top of the tabletop here, and it's especially with my glasses off, I can barely see the screen. And I wanted to move it. I didn't even want all this on here because that was the original plan with the Hackintosh, but it it couldn't hack it. Haha. Yeah, I see what you did there. Because it's an older machine, and these flies are driving me nuts. I've got these flies here. I don't know. It's just out of camera range. There's a fly sitting right there. I had 6 of them flying around here. We got a lot of flies in here because the doggy door, the dogs going back and forth, they get in through the doggy door. And I had 6 flies flying around here, driving me nuts right before I went on the air. I got 4 of them. There's 2 left. And I would love to get rid of them, but oh well. Christopher Pike, that's what I was. What am I looking up here? Christopher Plummer? Christopher Plummer? No, Christopher Pike. There we go. Christopher Pine. No, not Christopher Pine. Christopher Pike. And Christopher Pine, of course, is the new Captain Kirk. And of course, almost all of these pictures here are of from the movies. Bruce Greenwood, is that? Yeah, that's the actor's name, Bruce Greenwood. Let's see. I know, Christopher Pike wheelchair. There we go. No, not Christopher Pike Witch. Witch. There's an author named Christopher Pike who wrote a book called Witch World, apparently. Oh, let's try wheelchair. There we go. All right, I don't think I'm going to be able to finish this tonight. And there are a lot of similarities between Christopher Pike and Davros. They're both in the wheelchair. They're both, scarred. They both have their eyes kind of half open, or they're all both half dead. We'll get a full shot of his of the wheelchair here. Okay, so it's kind of. I'll move over there. Move over there. Stay over there. So, and something completely, and now for something completely different. I am thinking about doing the Picardo, doing a test show on Picardo. Maybe next week. Maybe next week I'll do that. Remember to use the URL. Oh, come on. Oh, I gotta click on the right one here. There we go. Use the URL from now on. Just keep using that to get over here. Because if I do a Picardo test, that will enable you to go straight to it without having to, look it up and figure out what's going on. Because what I'll do is I'll just go into Bitly and change the URL. So keep using that URL. That will always bring you right here. Yeah, Radio Shack, the Tandy Corporation filed for bankruptcy, and there was this, they even had they tried to resurrect brand interest. They redid all their stores because they had a bad problem with their stores being very dated, and they did this very clever spot. It was titled "The '80s Called." They want their store back, and it was great. I grew up in the '80s, and so I loved it. I thought it was great because they had Mary Lou Retton was in it, Mr. T was in it. They showed up with a DeLorean. All of these 80s things were in it, and the idea was that that the 80s they want their store back, and so now the Radio Shack's going to have this new store layout. And of course, it didn't work. And then they did a Christmas spot with Weird Al, which was great. Because me, I love Weird Al. really nice guy. He was really nice. I got to meet him, and he was really nice. Even after having 200 cartoonists fawning over him all day, he was very, very gracious. We gave him an award a couple of years, and at the Rubens a few years ago. But okay, I think that's all the sketching I can do on Christopher Pike. Let's see. What do I need? I need this one. And put that one back. Yeah, I think yeah, that would be a little cruel. You know, speaking of Star Trek, a few years ago, when I hold on a second. When I did some of the very first stuff that I ever did with the Copics, I drew some of the Accidental Centaurs cast in Starfleet uniforms, kind of doing a little cosplay. And because I just thought of talking about hold on a second here. What was that? But yeah, I was just thinking of maybe of Sam as a Orion slave girl. I did one also, another one. I did one. I think it's in my sketchbook. Again, kind of the idea of Alex and Sam going to a convention. And Lenny sets her up with a Power Girl costume for the obvious reasons. And Sam says, "Why did you pick this one?" You Wally Wood. The story goes that when he was drawing Power Girl, he would keep drawing her breasts bigger and bigger, just until somebody noticed. every issue he would draw them bigger and bigger until somebody said something, just to see how long it would take for somebody to say something. Okay, you know what? I got a pencil just for this, because I need to do. Where's it? There it is. I need to do Pike's scar over here. And the scars on Star Trek were just really grotesque because it was color television. So there were all these purples. So I'm going to use the non-photo blue to do the scar. And trying to hold the pencil here so I don't smudge. Get more. See if I can grab a soaker sheet. I know I'm off Max's. I know. I need to reach over here and grab some paper so that I could try and see if I could do this and move my phone out of my way so my cable isn't in my way. And these flies are driving me nuts. And, first world problems. All right, here we go. Yeah, boy, do I know. Do I know that. Do I know that? Boobs sell comics. Yes, they do. Oh, by the way, good luck, James, tomorrow. I hope all goes well for you. And by the way, if you want to see boobs, $30 a month, and you can join the Not Safe for Work Fridays level on over on Patreon. There is a new image that goes up every week. Hint, hint. Well, good luck with it. I hope it all goes well. All right, let's see. Now, was it 2 beeps for no that Pike did, or was it 1 beep? I can't remember if it was 2 beeps or 1 beep. I can't remember. Anyway. So there we go. And it's man, it is dusty in here. Again, that's the dogs. Okay, so there we go. There's our Davros and Pike mashup. There we go. They said it couldn't be done, and they were right. I said it's the 18th, right? Yeah, the 18th. Of July. Okay, there we go. Ta-da! There we go. Okay, and I'm back. Camera looks awful. That's what happens. That's what happens when you have it all set properly, and then you have to reset your camera in the middle of your show. Oh well. Let's see. That's no, that's not any better. Oh man, that is even worse. That's the problem with this setup, is that there's just not enough light. Back over there on Friday, boy, that was luxurious. Had so much light. I mean, it literally looked like daylight, didn't it? It was amazing. Which is something I'm going to work towards here in Studio A. Is the lighting? Yeah, because it's well, that's not the only mess. That, you know, what I was talking about Etsy, that I had all these pages that I want to sell. There's some of them right there, and I really would like to get rid of some of this art. I would love when I say rid of it, I mean I would love to adopt it out to a good home. So make me some offers. If there's a strip that you like, even if it's not on the Etsy page, make me, you know, say, hey, you know, I really like this one. Is that available? Answer is probably, almost certainly. Talk to me. Make me a deal. Anyway, all right. So we are at an hour and 25 minutes. So that's a pretty good bit of work for the night. And good grief. So there we are. Okay. So, you got any more questions? I got about 20-second. There's a 20-second lag, latency on this tonight. So I'm just gonna vamp here until see if anybody's got any more questions. Anything else? Otherwise, we will close this out for tonight. I need to get a new one of these. This it looks horrible because it is in bad shape. It's very dirty. But you can get these. I don't remember where I did this. Did I do this at Zazzle? I think this was at Zazzle. Anyway, that's just something I need to get back into and start pushing, is merchandise and stuff like that. And there's going to be. I am working on a website or a web page on the Centaurs website for all of that good stuff. Because there's going to be quite a bit of merch coming out. I got 9. There's 9 comic books, and I thought I had that set for a dissolve. Yeah, I do have it set for a dissolve. It should be dissolving, not cutting. Yeah, like that. There we go. That's better. Anyway, so there we go. Davros and Captain Pike. Do I have AC in my place? You mean air conditioning? I live in Georgia. Hell yes, I have air conditioning. There's no way I would ever survive in this state without it. I was talking to somebody about that today. I don't know how people dealt with living in this state without air conditioning. I just don't understand it. It's because I mean it's not super hot. It's the humidity. It's not the heat. It's the humidity. It really is the humidity. It gets. You could literally wring the water out of the air. It is so humid here. So do I have air conditioning? Yes. Oh yes, I do. Now, if you mean by do I have AC in my place, do I have Accidental Centaurs? Of course. I'm assuming you mean air conditioning. The fan, if you're asking about the fan is just, it's there to drive the MPEG encoder nuts. That's why the fan. No, the fan just circulates air. This room, yeah, the air conditioning, it's okay, but it does get a little warm because I've got computer. I've got the big computer over there. Compy is over there pumping out BTUs, and then I got Lappy over here. So I've got a lot of electronics, and it does generate a lot of heat. So I need to keep the air circulating as much as I can. So yeah, that's not for. I mean, that's part of cooling, but the main cooling is air conditioning. So 1 for yes, 2 for no. Okay, that's right. I couldn't remember because he sits there beeping no, beep beep. Beep beep. So we keep saying no. What is he saying no about? We can ask him for months. Yeah, I grew up on that. No to what? As Bones would say. Okay. All right. It's 11:30. Wow. It's 11:30. So anything else? Is there any other last minute stuff? I've got to get to work on the not safe for work Friday. I think somebody was asking last week. I think about we've done female on female stuff in not safe for work Friday. If there was going to be any, the other way around, and I think I'm going to do something for with Alex for. NSFW Friday this time around. Just to be fair, just to keep it varied. Because we do all of it. Anyway. Okay. Well, anyway, James. Good luck. Good luck. Good luck tomorrow, and hope it goes well. So break a leg, as they say in showbiz. It's bad luck to wish them good luck. So go out there and break a leg, and I hope it goes well for you. And so I think that's going to be it. I think we're going to pull the plug on this one and put this one in the can and call it done. So until tomorrow night, and tomorrow night I'll know for certain if I'm going to do the riff tracks thing. So I'll know for certain if there's going to be a show on Thursday or not. So we will see you back here, same bat time, same bat channel, which means this right here. Again, start using that. That's going to be the best way to get here from now on. And yeah, I'll let you know. I'll make a decision whether I'm going to go to the riff track things tomorrow night, Thursday. I'll know by tomorrow night's show. So until tomorrow, keep your powder dry and drive safely. And we will see you tomorrow. So, good night.